We're going to discuss 4 ways to exercise our communication muscles in our everyday lives so that when we do have that big speech or presentation to give, we come off as a lot more natural and we improve our sense of communication even in our daily lives. And for all of these methods, we do not need an audience. Hey, my name is Radeep and I'm the founder of Frantically Speaking, and I love learning about effective communications and sharing those learnings with you so that you can level up your communications game as well. The first point is to treat every conversation like it's a speech. I believe it was Tony Robbins who said this, that an interviewer had asked him, "Where did you learn to become such a great speaker?" And he simply stated that he treated every conversation like it was a speech. What this means for us is that when we are speaking to a group of our friends or even somebody over the phone, we should be mindful about the way we are communicating. Are we putting across our ideas in a clear and concise manner? Are we engaging the person who's actually talking to us? Are we using our hands to complement what it is we're saying with our words? And are we speaking very softly? Or do we tend to speak very quickly? Or maybe we speak in a monotonous tone of voice, in which case the person listening to us just goes to sleep. When we do this, we tend to understand our body's nuances when we do communicate, even if it's in just a conversation. We can then try adding in things like popping some words, dropping some down, and pausing before other sentences. And the reason why this is so effective is because we usually think of all these things when we need to speak to a room full of people. But if we simply start applying all these principles in our normal conversations, doing this will become second nature to us and we'll appear a lot more natural on stage. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that our anxiety or fear of speaking to people will go away, but it will definitely help us communicate a lot more effectively because we've been practicing the basic principles of public speaking for the moment that we do have to give that presentation or talk. The next thing that we can do every day to improve our public speaking is the emoji exercise. Now, when we see a nervous speaker, it's quite evident that they are nervous because you can see it on their face. Our facial expressions, even though we don't want it to seem like it, are showcasing our nervousness to the entire room. I experienced this the most when I was asked to do a ramp walk for my college festival for I don't know what reason, and I remember practicing in front of everybody, and I was so conscious. I've never been so conscious of just walking, but when you have so many people looking at you and when you have that added pressure that you're soon going to be doing this similar sort of walk in front of a crowd full of people, it becomes daunting, and people could very easily see the nervousness on my face. I was so conscious. So my mother sees me in this state and she offers this exercise to me. She tells me to go in front of a mirror, open up all the emojis on my phone and start imitating their expressions one after the other. Now, it sounded absolutely ridiculous. I didn't have anything to lose to try this out, so I went to the mirror and I started making faces like and it still seems very ridiculous, but it really helped loosen my facial muscles. When I did the walk the next day, I was a lot looser, even though I was still nervous. People around me could not really see that because I was stretching my face out in ways that it wasn't used to. This made me loosen my muscles and made me look a lot less conscious when I was actually performing. And the same principles apply to public speaking as well. When we're on stage, if we want to use our facial expressions to communicate our points, which we definitely should, we can use this exercise to help us loosen up a bit. Speaking of loosening up a bit, the next point is around bioenergetics. I learned about this concept through one of my favorite YouTubers, whose name is Elliot Hulse. And it basically involves a bunch of body movement and exercises that help us loosen our muscles. It's a bunch of movements and involves shaking your body and making weird sounds that help us loosen ourselves and calm ourselves down a lot more. I'm not sure if that's the aim of those exercises, but that's the effect that it had on me. I'm putting a link in the description of a routine that you can do before a speech or a few days leading up to your speech using bioenergetics done by Elliot Hulse himself. Highly recommend you check it out and try it before going on stage. You'll feel so much looser and your entire body will be able to move so much more easily on stage. And of course, if you are usually very stiff, even when it comes to things like freely dancing and not caring about what other people are thinking, this sort of exercise can be practiced every day to loosen our mental and body muscles. And the last exercise that we can do in our everyday lives is impromptu for me and you. Speaking on the spot with no preparation is definitely one of the scariest things to do. If we are asked to give a speech at a friend or a toast at a friend's wedding, or if we're asked to give a farewell speech and we haven't prepared for it, it can be incredibly challenging to think of engaging things to say on the spot when you have so many people looking at you. Which is where this exercise comes into play. It's a lot easier to do this and a lot more effective to do this if you have a friend who also wants to improve their communication skills. But if you don't, I'm also going to give you an alternative which you can use without having a partner or a friend. So this is how it works. You simply set a time with that friend, and let's say it's at 8 p.m. after your work is done. We'll call each other up for just 5 minutes. Now, in those 5 minutes, your friend will give you a topic, any random topic, and you're supposed to speak on it for about a minute to 2 minutes. After you're done speaking, your friend can evaluate you and help you understand what you could have done better or what you did wrong from an outsider's perspective. And then you repeat the same thing for your friend as well. And the thing about doing these exercises is that even if we may struggle initially to speak at all, let alone for an entire minute, we'll soon start developing these mental frameworks that will help us speak on any topic without any preparation, even if we are not entirely familiar with that subject. Now, if you don't have a friend to do that with, no problem. The simple way of doing this is to just take out a dictionary and open to any random word and speak on it for about a minute or two. Now, when you're doing this, speak out loud. Don't speak in your mind, because there's a big difference in speaking in our minds on the spot and speaking out loud. And we can also audio record ourselves so we can hear that audio recording when we're done and self-evaluate our own speech. And that's about it. 4 quick ways that help us practice public speaking in our everyday lives without the use of an audience. If you have any more questions around things like public speaking or communications, we have an entire website with in-depth articles and resources dedicated just for that. So go check out franticallyspeaking.com. And if you want to watch another video which goes deeper into the topic of practicing for a speech, you can check out this video right here.